everyone, this is Alice from the Alice Edit. Today I'm going to bring you another in-depth review of the Lady Dior pouch right here. I'm going to cover quite a few topics and it's going to be a long video, but I have timestamps down in the description box so you can take a look at that. Today I'll cover an unboxing, some basics on this bag, ways to wear it, which is my favorite part, so I highly recommend you look at that section. And of course, the pros and cons, some final thoughts, and some mod shots kind of scattered throughout. If you're interested, please keep watching. As you could tell, my Dior bag came in a special packaging from holidays, I want to say 2019. So it does have this different design, but if you get it from the boutique, it's that white, I'll grab it. This is their regular packaging. It's just the regular white and gold, and it comes with a ribbon and sometimes with the little star here as well. This is not a real first impressions unboxing because I've had this for a really long time. Not a really long time, but for quite a while. So this is the smaller bag, and it just has this tissue paper that they put on top to cover the bag. It has a little Dior all over it, so it is the Dior tissue. And mine actually didn't come in a box, which I was a little bit disappointed by, but it's not a huge deal. So it's just a dust bag. And in here is my Lady Dior pouch in black lambskin and gold hardware. And then you get these two inserts. This is again Dior tissue paper, it's taped. This is the lambskin card slot holder thing. And then you also get a pouch. And it's just a simple flat pouch. I think this is meant for things like coins or miscellaneous knickknacks. Let's go through the specs of this bag. So this is the Lady Dior pouch with black lambskin and gold hardware. The leather is quilted lambskin, as I said, in the canage pattern, which is the same as the Lady Dior bags that you see, and Dior does this in a variety of different ways. This particular one is the classic one, and it has pretty much 5 of these diamonds across, and it is symmetrical. And then all along the back. The inside of the bag is also lined with leather lambskin, and it just goes down like this. Earlier versions of this particular pouch is lined with I believe like nylon or some sort of fabric, so it might be a little bit different. But this version, which is the current one, is all leather inside and outside, which provides a little bit more structure. It also, this way it's stitched makes it fold a little bit less. So it does come in on the side because the leather curves in, and that keeps the corner in shape. There are no feet, but to be honest, for such a small bag, I don't think you need it. The bag itself is 8.5 inches long, or around 22 centimeters long, around 5 inches tall, or 12.5-ish centimeters, but this does sometimes go down a little depending on how you're packing the bag. So if it's fuller, then it flattens out a little bit. And a little bit short of 2 inches, I would say probably 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters at the very base. There is that flap that looks like it gives it a little bit of width, but it's actually not as much. It does taper a little bit as you go up, but not by very much either. The current version of the bag comes with 2 inserts. One is a flat credit card type insert. It has 8 credit card slots. Right now they're pretty tight because I've never used it. And also a bigger compartment here. The outside is made out of lambskin, and it looks like the same lambskin as the bag, so quite soft to the touch. And the inside is lined with nylon, it looks like, or some sort of fabric. The second insert here is a zip pouch. So it's a simple flat zip pouch, inside lined with nylon, outside the same type of lambskin with gold hardware. I still have the sticker on here, and stamped with Christian Dior on the back, or I guess the bottom. There's no really front and back for this. The same Christian Dior logo is on the inside of the pouch, and it just says Christian Dior Paris. Inside is just one big open compartment. There is a slot in the back. It's quite flat, but I can fit a passport or cards and anything flat really in the back. Not one of these inserts because it's too long. In addition to the inserts, it comes with a detachable chain strap, and it just has a little clip here on the outside, and you could attach it to the 2 D-rings on the outside of this bag. The charm is also detachable. This charm is the Dior charm that you're used to seeing on the other Dior bags, except it doesn't have the leather oval in the back, and it is much smaller. So when I wear this out as a clutch, I do keep the straps in the pouch that it comes in and carry it with me. So in this tray, I just have a bunch of things that I have carried in this bag in the past, and then obviously, as you could probably tell right away, I can't carry all of it, but let's take a look. So if we're looking at this bag closely, you'll see that even though it's quite squared and rectangular and it's pretty structured, it actually is a little bit less space than you think, even though there are no like real interior pockets in here. Because the sides go in, like you see these stitches here, that means what you're actually getting in terms of capacity is probably more somewhere here. So from here to here, and not the whole length of the bag. In terms of the width or depth of the bag, it's pretty true to size. And one thing to note is that if you overstuff it, because of the magnetic closure, sometimes it's a little trickier, and you might have to flatten the top a little bit to make things fit. So starting with the essentials, I always need to carry my keys, card holder here, and my phone. I usually actually carry my phone in my pocket when I have one, but of course, if you're wearing a dress at a formal event, you won't have that. If you really needed to, I would also maybe think about downsizing this a little bit. Take those cards out and put it directly inside the bag in the back pocket. I actually have my passport here. In the back pocket here. And that saves you so much space, even though it feels insignificant and might be depending on what you carry. If I were just putting these 3 things in, there's gonna be no problem. You could just like toss them in here pretty carelessly if you wanted to, and then it would close. There's no bulging, nothing's coming out. But one thing to note is because of the depth, it's not a great idea to stack them like this, you might have to play a bit of Tetris. So for example, I like to put my keys like standing up a little bit more, and then maybe same thing with my compact wallet, so that the overall width is not just concentrated in one place. I'll just put in my passport because this is pretty flat, it doesn't take up much space, and I like to do that in the back pocket. Okay, now adding a few more things. The hand sanitizer is pretty essential for me, and also if I'm carrying this bag, I'm most likely carrying the pouch that comes with it, which would allow me to put away the charms if I think it's getting in the way, or use the chain as well. Probably stand the card holder up now, and then put first this little pouch at the very bottom here, and then my mini hand sanitizer right on top. If you have one of those like regular size hand sanitizers, I don't think you could fit the pouch in there comfortably. So this is what that looks like. And then I could still close it, no problem. It is pretty full now, but not bulging. I think this is still okay. And then at the bottom, you'll see that the items are kind of showing a little bit. And that's probably as far as I would go. You could maybe fit in like a lip balm or a lipstick, and those could stand in here pretty well. But that is pretty much it. So if I wanted to maybe use this as more of a wallet on chain and actually use the inserts that it comes with, I actually have another sanitizer here. So if it's too many sanitizers, you want to do too. Here I have my cards, and the little pouch that it comes with also has a compartment here. So these, because they're so flat, they fit inside fine. But they do take up a little bit of space, so I always need my keys, so I'm putting that in here. And then hand sanitizer, I'll just put one actually. And a little pouch, and maybe a lip balm or lipstick, and phone. So that's actually quite comfortable. So you could do that instead of your card holder. If you wanted to add sunglasses, you could do that as well, but it would just have to be placed on top without the case. So you could put a cloth over it to protect your sunglasses. And that is all you could put. It's pretty tight. It's now like bulging ever so slightly. So the configuration that I actually use most often, which is for like errands, sometimes grocery shopping, I would actually need to bring one of these reusable bags. So I would either do this one or this one, not both. So what I do is I have my keys, again, card holder, stack pretty much, again, standing up. So it gives me a little bit more room here. I could either use this and then put it in flat and put in my like hand sanitizer and maybe this pouch right in front. So it's pretty full. You have to kind of maneuver it a little bit and then press it close. So if your reusable bag rolls up, then you could do this configuration maybe standing up like this inside. I would usually put that at the very edge. And now you're left with a little bit more space in the middle. This, and then hand sanitizer. And that closes pretty comfortably. Okay, let's talk prices. So this is my receipt from the boutique. I purchased this particular pouch end of June of 2020 this year. What this means is that it was probably a few weeks before the price increase that happened this past July in 2020. So when I purchased it, the retail price of the pouch was $16.50 US, and then I had tax on top of that. So the total came down to $17.96, but the retail price is $16.50. As I alluded to, there was a price increase for Dior. The retail price for this exact pouch is now $18.50 US dollars. So it increased by $200. This particular pouch comes in a variety of variations. So obviously you could have the material that's different, you could have the hardware color that's different, but the basics that will always be there is the lambskin and the patent. So the patent is the same price at $18.50 right now. They come in these beautiful colors, especially the seasonal ones when you could get them. But something like a black or a dusty pink will always probably be available. If you get special editions of this, for example, they had one that was white and had a special red accented charm for Chinese Valentine's Day this past year. That one will be a little bit higher, which is at $20.50. I think that's limited edition. There's also sometimes designs on the actual pouch, and those are around a little bit more expensive. So right now, the $2,000 mark, 2050, for example, there's one that's a blue tie-dye from this season. There is the ultra matte variation of this. The ultra matte references the hardware, so you typically have your shiny metal hardware, but the ultra matte will have a matte colored hardware, so you can have all black with black and black chains and matte color. I am so excited for this part of the video because I found out some tips and tricks for this bag and how to wear it, and it really changed how I see this bag and how I use it. It's actually quite a versatile bag. I think what I'm showing you today might apply to other mini bags or clutches that you have as well. So the first way you could wear this, obviously, is a clutch. You just remove the straps, whereas a clutch, handheld, you could take the charms off. If you find it annoying, sometimes I do, but I do really like the look of the little charms. It just, it makes sounds, especially when it knocks against the bag. But if I'm holding it, I'm usually cradling it. When I move, it doesn't jingle jangle as much. Second way is crossbody with a chain, obviously. And it's just attaching the straps onto the bag, and then you can wear it crossbody as it was designed for. And you could see here that when you're carrying it, it's the D-ring that's coming in contact with the leather and not whatever you're attaching to it, which is helpful because there's less movement with the D-ring, and the D-ring is smooth. Now this is the exciting part that I found when I was playing around with the bag. So the length of this crossbody chain is actually a little long for me. For reference, I'm only 5'3". What you do is start with the D-rings out, attach one side, go to the other side, but instead of attaching it to the D-ring, you loop it down and through the D-ring. And then once you've done that, just go back and attach the chain on the other side. So this way you're wearing it doubled up. And I would say the length is quite comfortable on me. It's not overly short, underneath my armpit, and it's a little bit more comfortable too with the two chains. So let's say you don't want to wear this doubled up length, and maybe you want something in between. I did find a way to do that. So the same kind of concept, you start from one side, you loop it through the D-ring instead of attaching it, but instead of going all the way back to the same side, the chain that it comes with actually can attach to the links of the chain. It is a little bit tricky. You'll have to kind of play with it a little bit, but it does eventually go through. And what you end up with is basically an in-between length. So so you have to adjust it a little bit. So you can see here, this is now longer. It's doubled up on one side and then short on the other. At first I thought it might look a little bit awkward, but usually the length I'm playing with is this pretty much attaching halfway where it sits on my shoulder. So it'll be double chains on one side and then one on the other. So now this is just a longer shoulder bag. So with this trick, you essentially can get pretty much every length between the full crossbody length and doubled up length. If you really wanted to, you could also triple up the chains. So same thing, loop it through the D-ring, go on the other side, loop it through the other D-ring, and then attach it back to the other D-ring on the other side. And you do have to play with the chains a little bit so that it's all even. If you like the uneven look, that works too. And this is kind of what you're left with, which is you could use it as a top handle bag if you want. So why am I showing you all of this? I really wanted a way where I could wear this without looping the chain underneath the flap. So I know for a lot of people who own, say, like a Chanel wallet on chain, what they do to adjust the length of the chain, because you can't detach that, people loop it underneath the bag, the flap of the bag, which is fine, but the problem with this is that this is lambskin, and the leather is quite delicate, and whenever you do that, you're really rubbing against the edges of this delicate leather. I mean, this leather is not as delicate as you think, but over time, I think you're risking damage, and I would really prefer to not do that. So instead of doing this and having the leather move around on the inside and outside and putting pressure on the corners, I wanted a way to rely on the D-ring and the hardware that already comes with it. I'm very grateful that the chain detaches completely, which means there are more ways you could wear it if you wanted to. So here I just have another strap, a leather strap from another crossbody bag that I own. So a size like this, you could find on most mini bags that come with a detachable strap, or if you wanted to buy a strap separately, you could do that too. But it attaches onto the D-rings, no problem. I would not recommend getting a thicker strap, such as even the Dior guitar straps. I personally don't like the look, and I don't know if the hardware actually fits on this D-ring. You could go into Dior and try it out and let me know what you think, if it actually works. But because guitar straps tend to be quite thick, the width of that strap is pretty much like half of the bag, so it might look a little bit disproportionate because this is still quite a small bag. Another way I've experimented with is using a silk scarf. So this is one I got from Lily Silk. So it is longer, but if you have like a mitza or a twilly, it's probably half the length, so something like this, and then a little bit skinnier, which is actually more proportionate to a bag like this. So you could attach it to the bag by just looping it through the D-rings. So you could just tie the edges like this. Kind of looks like the bag has pigtails, but what I prefer to do actually is going inside the flap and tying it here. So now you get a thicker strap, and this is insanely comfortable. I wore this the other day just as a crossbody bag grocery shopping, and not gonna lie, it was a little bit scary because I didn't feel the weight of the bag at all. And with the scarf, you could then make it into a shorter handle if you want to make it handheld. You could also make it a little bit longer. I sometimes carry it as a clutch with the scarf, just kind of wrapped around. just to give myself a little bit more security, and also gives me the versatility of wearing a crossbody or on my shoulder. Let's go through the 6-month wear and tear. Understanding that I use this bag probably around once a week, maybe a little bit less than that on average for the past 6 months. Basically, I don't see any wear and tear. The corners are completely fine. There are no visible scratches on the lambskin that I could detect. Bottom corners, I do not see any wear at all so far. I don't tend to overstuff my bags. I do pack it pretty full, but I don't overstuff it. I can't see any warping or bulging. Sometimes I've seen bags where the flap kind of starts to flip up over time. That hasn't happened yet at the 6-month mark. They also take care of the bag when I open it by pulling it from the middle and not from the corners. So that's another tip for you. The hardware looks brand new. I don't see any discoloration. I'm sure there are micro scratches on here, but nothing really obvious. The D-rings look fine. I don't see any major discoloration. The magnetic closure, I had the plastic on for the longest time. Actually gonna peel that off now. Interior, no marks, really. A little bit of dust, but that's my fault. Overall, very good condition at the 6-month mark. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of this bag for me. The great thing that I found about this bag that I did not expect was its versatility. As you can see from how I style this and how I wear this, it goes with everything, also because of the color. But I think even if you get say even like a bright red version of this, it's still not going to be overwhelming because it's quite small. So I could wear this casually, I could dress this up, I could attach the chain and the charm, I could use this chain, do the different lengths of that chain, attach a different chain or a different strap, attach it to a scarf. So there's so many ways that I could wear this and style this bag that I do think that it is quite versatile and not reserved for evening clutch bag, which was initially what I thought I would use it for. The next thing that I love about this bag is the design. I've always been a fan of the canage pattern from Dior in their Lady Dior bags, so I knew I wanted something in that. It is quite timeless and quite subtle. For people who don't follow fashion, you're here, you obviously know this is the classic Dior pattern. But if you're not familiar with that, this just looks like a special type of quilting. So it's not your regular chevron or regular diamonds. It does have additional detail and it's done so well. So it's very high quality and not overly showy in my opinion, especially if you remove the charm. It's just a black bag. I love the construction of this bag. So just looking at the close-ups, if you want to take a look at that, the edges are finished with leather. They are not edge painted, which is actually more work for the craftsman. And there are details like the additional stitching that you get to attach this D-ring. And even the corners are finished beautifully. This stitching here that gives the bag this structure. It is leather inside and out, so the whole bag is leather pretty much. The quilting is obviously done beautifully. It does come with these little additional things like the pouch and then the charm and then the strap, which I think it should come with anyway. These just kind of float around and live in the dust bag, and I've never used these before. For those thinking about getting a Chanel wallet on chain, if you don't have that already, you've been looking into it and you want some sort of mini bag or compact bag, I would actually go for something like this instead because of the versatility. So for a Chanel wallet on chain, for example, it does come with the credit card slots, which might be useful for you, but I always find that using a card holder where I could switch in and out of bags really quickly is more helpful. there is more space in this bag than a wallet on chain. But the size difference is not that significant. It is a little bit more rectangular and a little bit fatter, but not by much. And compared to the wallet on chain, which retails for over $2,000 right now, you could get this from the boutique at a lower price point. Not by that much, which leads me to my first negative of this bag, which is its price. I don't know if I really should bring this up because that's kind of the price of those types of things, especially from a brand from Dior. So I don't think, based on kind of the market, it is overpriced. It is expensive. And I think they were able to justify that higher price or increase in price over time from the previous version. First is from the material of the bag. So the older version of this is lined with fabric and now it's leather, so that would be more expensive. I understand that. They now also give you these pouches that weren't in the previous version, and this is all lambskin and this is all leather. But truthfully, I think these additional things are a bit of an afterthought to try and justify the higher price point. I don't think they're all that helpful. But that might not be the case for you. Maybe you find this something that you actually need in your life, or if you actually use it with this bag and find it helpful, please let me know, because I would really want to get use out of these pouches. The second thing about the price that I don't like necessarily, which is not always applicable to you, and it's the resale value. So this particular pouch does not do well on the resale market, meaning that it doesn't really hold its price. So if I tried to sell this today, I definitely would not be able to sell it for the boutique retail price, which is $18.50. So at the end of the day, if I sell this, I'm losing money. At the same time, I also contemplated getting this online in the resale market. I've seen $700 for an older version of this, which I think makes sense because it doesn't come with all of these little things. That said, if you really like this bag, and based on what I told you and your research, you think you'll get a lot of use out of it, and you want that boutique experience, I would not be opposed to recommending getting the bag itself, especially if you think you will actually get a lot of use out of it. One of the most important downside of this bag is the capacity. As you probably saw earlier of what fits inside, it's not much. You fit your essentials, so if you have a key holder that takes up like a fourth, 1/6 of the bag, you could put in a card holder, you could put in your phone, your hand sanitizer, maybe like lip balm, lipstick, and then I always put the chain in there too if I'm wearing it as a clutch. What that means is that it limits the versatility of this bag. So some final thoughts about this bag. I think, as I have shown you, it's a little bit more versatile than I originally thought it was going to be, but I found that I could actually use this in my day-to-day life, especially running really quick errands or just going on brunch or shopping. So it actually exceeds my expectation on the function, which admittedly is not very high to begin with. I also want to discuss the motivation for me buying this bag. So for a few years now, I've been eyeing the Lady Dior bag. What I noticed was that I was really drawn to the construction, but mostly the leather. So the beautiful lambskin leather and the canage quilting. So I wanted to test this out with something smaller and something more accessible, because the Lady Dior bag is retailing for around the $5,000 mark right now. So with that in mind, I got this bag as a test ride for the Lady Dior, and potentially as a way to satisfy my desire for something in the canage lambskin leather. After owning this bag for 6 months, pretty much, I don't think I would buy the Lady Dior anytime soon. If I wanted to go for a bigger medium-sized bag, I think I would always go for my Chanel reissue. I'll link the video of the review in the bottom if you have 40 minutes to spare. But it was a risk of buying this bag, and I don't recommend buying something small or buying an alternative as opposed to the thing that you were actually lusting after, because there is a chance where I buy this bag and I realize that I really like the Lady Dior and I want the Lady Dior, and I just spent close to $2,000 on a smaller bag when that could have gone towards the Lady Dior bag. And I know this is a practice that's quite common in the luxury community, so if you wanted to test out something, you buy something smaller. So let me know what you think. Have you done that before? Has it worked out for you? Has it failed for you? I would love to hear. And that's it for the video. Thank you so much for sitting through the review. I know it's a lot. I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know if you have any thoughts or comments, or if you have any future requests or videos. This particular one was actually prompted by a friend of mine who wanted a review of this. And yes, this is not a real necklace. This is the chain for the Lady Dior pouch. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye-bye.